This is a pretty scary prospect. I want to just show people what we're talking about here when we talk about this super volcano, and we have a little thing to show you, a map with some of the details. So that's where it is. It's beneath Yellowstone. It's been there, as we know. I guess this has erupted 3 times in 2.1 million years. But what they're worried about is the fact that they say that the ground has started to swell in levels that they have not seen before, 10 inches in some places in the past year. What does that tell us?
It tells us that there is activity in this supervolcano, which erupts roughly every 600 million years. And the last eruption was 640 million years ago.
Oh, 640 million or 1,000?
1,000 years ago,
okay.
I'm sorry, you're right.
Because then we had some more time.
Then we have some more time, right. But that's what's making us very nervous, because the cycle time corresponds to the present-day era. So every single burp, murmur of this gigantic potential supervolcano, including the rise of the sea level, has to be watched very carefully.
All right, so when we talk about this, and we have pictures, pictures of Mount St. Helen erupting back in 1980. Let's just show this right now. You say that an explosion with this supervolcano under Yellowstone, and there we're seeing the Mount St. Helens, would be 1,000 times bigger than this. What type of damage are we talking about here?
We're talking about immediate damage out to 100 miles from the site. That is total devastation, basically wiping out everything in sight. However, the real damage goes out to 500 miles if you include volcanic ash, poisonous gases, death of wildlife and vegetation, and that's a ring about 1,000 miles across. That's the heartline of America.
It would pretty much wipe out Earth as we know it?
It would wipe out the United States as we know it.
Just when you thought there could not be more change going on in the world, magnetic north is moving. Aviators know it has always moved, but not like this. It's just skipping along. It's on the move about 40 miles a year now along the polar cap toward Russia. It's a natural, unstoppable occurrence, but because of it, some airport runways, calibrated by compass, are now 3 or 4 degrees off. At Tampa International in Florida, they're going to repaint the numbers on the runway and redesignate them because the dead center, top of the world, magnetic north on the compass, is on the move in a big way.
Ordinary compasses thrown off by changes in the Earth's magnetic field. February 25th, 2011. The Earth's magnetic field is changing at an increasing rate, throwing off airports and altering the aurora borealis. And its effect on ordinary compasses could mean the difference between homeward bound and hopelessly lost. Earth's northernmost magnetic point, or magnetic north, is distinct from its geographic north pole, and scientists have long known that the magnetic poles are on the move. But the magnetic poles have been moving faster lately, sliding towards Siberia at 34 miles per year, at a speed that's accelerating 36% over the past 10 years, according to United States Geological Survey, or USGS. Since compasses, and they're talking about regular compasses here that you carry in your hand when you hike, since compasses rely on magnetic north to point you in the right way up the trail, the average $2 model could very well point you in the wrong direction. Depending on the location and journey of the length, unaware hikers or boaters could find themselves hundreds of miles off course if they don't calibrate for the shift.
Everybody, the sun, it's the source of all life, and it could mean the end of life as we know it. NASA did a study, and its findings are now out. We're not talking about global warming, a brand new government study on the very real destructive threat of solar storms. Check it out, the surface of the sun, a roiling mass of plasma and charged high-energy particles. As we move to the launch pad, we can show exactly what we mean, escaping the surface of the sun and traveling through space to areas down here on Earth. Now, this giant fireball, if that ball hit the Earth and its magnetic shield, it would be devastating. I want to show you New York City at night. Times Square, drove through here at 8 o'clock last night. Streets are empty, but the electric power grid would be wiped out by the current. Lights and computers, transportation, hospitals, all would go down. The study warns it would be a disaster, far worse than anything we have seen before. The menace of these sunstorms poses a bigger threat to more high-tech and advanced countries like the U.S. Everything from our sewage systems to our Wall Street banks operate with our power grid. And a game-changing solar storm that could hit at any time. So how worried should we be? Sounds like we should be. Michio Kaku is an astrophysicist and author of The Physics of the Impossible. Sir, good morning to you. Welcome back here.
Glad to be on your show.
Now, what I'm reading here scares me to death. Should I be that way?
That's right. We're talking about a potential Katrina from outer space. Katrina caused about $100 billion in property damage, and unless we begin to make efforts now to reinforce our satellites and power grid, we could have something maybe 10 times bigger than Katrina, because we're talking about the loss of all electricity and all satellite activity. We'd be thrown 100 years back into the past.
Michio, has this happened before?
In 1859, we had a humongous storm that wiped out telegraph poles, and we tried to then estimate what kind of power could do that. And we now realize that we are very young in the space age. If something like the 1859 storm hit again, it would literally paralyze all the United States, not just for a day or an hour, but for months to years.
It's a Valentine's Day present from outer space, but this massive solar flare, which shot out from the surface of the Sun on February the 14th, could prove to be an unwanted gift. The solar eruption has sent out a massive wave of electromagnetic radiation. When it hits the Earth this week, it's feared it could cause disruption to satellite networks, power grids and radio traffic. NASA says this is a Category X flare, the most powerful of all. It's thought to be the biggest eruption of its kind since December 2006.
Come home in the middle of February with what looks like a sunburn. Now parents and teachers want to know how it happened. KATC's Sean Klein was in Hathaway tonight looking for answers to that burning question.
A mystery in the community of Hathaway, and it has people burning to know the answers.
I don't know what caused it. We just kept trying to find answers.
About 24 Hathaway High School students came back from a field trip with what appears to be a sunburn. The mystery is the students and teachers don't know what caused it.
We have no idea.
It's very bizarre. It's something that we need to be really concerned about.